Hey Lucas, it's Coach Tyler. I'm here doing the VOD review you requested. Uh, I don't have a script, but I do have some notes, so just forgive me if I ramble a little bit. Um, so yeah, let's take a look about why you lost this game, right? There's a few minor problems that are pretty easy to address, and then there's like one pretty big problem that I want you to work on a little bit. Uh, so I'm gonna tell you what those things are kind of up front here, and then let's look for them throughout the game and how they hurt you. Okay. All right. So first, super easy one. You're missing all of your techs, like all of them. Super common. A lot of the players aren't doing that, which is why I added it to our gotcha last week. So we're gonna work on that kind of as a group, right, to get our teching down. Um, Kind of one of the big ones is that you never throw eggs when you're recovering, right? And one of Yoshi's best tools to keep his double jump safe is chucking eggs at the opponent while he's off stage to make sure that you can make them either try to dodge them or shield them. So I add that to your gotcha this week. So that way you can kind of start getting a feel for how you can use them to keep yourself safe. I will also tell you up front that you do an excellent job this both these games of using your double jump to get to ledge safely. So great job there. I didn't see you at all during either of these games um, unsafely recovering high, right? You do a fantastic job this set and your other game of this match um, of keeping yourself safe when you're off the stage. Okay, speaking of being off the stage, one of the other things, let's talk about what you can be doing when your opponent's in disadvantage. You never go off stage to attack the opponent when they're below the stage, right? Um, I'm pointing it out up front because it's kind of hard to like show you a thing you don't do. So during this match, I'm going to point out the times that I think it would have been really beneficial to sort of apply some pressure to your opponent when you're off stage. And we can kind of work on that and get you a little bit more comfortable going off stage for those stocks to get them a little bit earlier. Um, you also seem a little bit lost about what to do when your opponent's hanging onto the ledge, which the K rule kind of picks up on. So we're going to talk about Yoshi's different options when the opponent's just hanging from the ledge. Those are all the easy ones. Those are all the pretty normal stuff that we can work on real simple. The big one is during most of this set, you have a pretty bad habit of always going trying to go from your disadvantage state after you get hit into the advantage state, right? So when you get hit and you're knocked in the air, you always kind of default to attacking your opponent instead of backing off or safely landing and then like going back to neutral. Okay. And as we're going to see, this leads to a lot of unsafe approaches during this match, which causes a whole bunch of damage and one or both of your stocks. At least one stock for sure, and I think a couple of them. So we'll see. But those are the big things. So we're gonna watch through the set for those kind of 5 things, and we'll talk about them. All right, let's get into it. Pardon me. 3, 2, 1, go! Okay, actually, that's a perfect example of what I want you to do. So right here, you're approaching K Rool, right, from the air. Also, this quality is not amazing. That's the highest one it can be. Okay. So right here, you're approaching K Rool from the air, right? And this is called a cross up, where you attack their shield and you land on the other side of them. If you had done this more throughout the set, I think you would have won the whole game. The big problem you have is you're constantly landing directly in front of K Rool, kind of over here, instead of crossing up like you do here. And as a result, he gets to keep punishing you. So I'm putting it out here because this is kind of a perfect example of why I want you to kind of try to do a little bit more. Try to get a feel for this spacing about how you can cross up the opponent's shield and land and decide if you want to land in front or behind him, right? Because different matches will need you to do different things. And then you're able to punish. Yep. Do a great job there. Let go of shield just a little bit early, no biggie. And you do a great job right there of just going straight to ledge. Great job. So your opponent shows you right there. This is one more little thing I want to point out. Your opponent showed you right there their first habit of always doing their down B when they kind of approach ledge. And your opponent also does a great job here of showing you they are going to go below stage and recover to ledge because they know it's safe. So this is at least a moderately good K roll. So great. So he hangs on ledge a little bit. Great job recovering there. He does it again. Okay. All right. So right there, I want to point it out. I'll point out two things, actually. So you get him off stage, and you back off, and he's just recovering to ledge. This one isn't so bad, because he was pretty close to ledge still, right? So there wasn't a ton you could do off stage. But you don't position yourself well to, like, try to punish his get-up option, instead of just deciding to chuck eggs. But this isn't a bad option either. This is okay. You're still trying to get a feel for what he's doing. And he does a neutral get-up here, which you're going to notice and punish later. So great job there. Which we'll get to in a bit. So I don't think this is the wrong call. I just want to point out there. But let's go to the big part. Is okay, you lose this interaction, and then instead, so you're getting knocked way up here, right? And then instead of just coming down here, throwing out a nair, and then just landing, you just approach, right? You just go from your disadvantaged state, and you just try to go after it. Now, this was a little dangerous. He could have dash attacked there, right? I don't think it would have killed you yet. A slightly better K roll might have even ran forward and known they could have grabbed you, right? Because of their distance. But that's okay. This does work out, so I'm not going to lean out too hard. And you make it pretty clear in the set that you're not using it as a habit anymore. So you do a great job. I'm just calling it out that it happens like the one time, but it's not a big deal. All right, so right here, you do a great job of recovering safely, right? But like right here, you could have used your eggs kind of about this position. You could have tossed an egg like right here, and he would have been forced to just stop dead in his tracks, right? He would have just been forced to not even approach you at ledge, and you could have just safely double jumped up. Now, you're not punched for this, right? You do make it to here, but that was really close to a spike. Whereas if you had thrown that egg, he wouldn't even been able to try that option given his distance. You just would have been completely okay. Okay, so but you make it back. Go back for eggs again. And you do fall for it here. Now, it's still early in the match. No biggie. You probably haven't noticed yet. But that is like the third time he's done it now. So, and now you've been hit by it. So now you know that's what he's going to keep doing. Okay, just going to point out that you like don't tech there, right? When you're knocked that high in the air, if you just use an option, for Yoshi, I always default to just throwing out Nair. You can just land, and you're okay. Or you can tech it, if you prefer. But up air or Nair both work really well if you're knocked high in the air to just put Yoshi back into his like normal state. Anything other than that sort of like free fall animation he was kind of doing. Great job there. So you've noticed now that he's doing a neutral getup, and you punched him a little bit for it, but you didn't like hard commit. All right, so that's where you lose your first stock. And it's right here, right? So you approach and you don't cross up, right? And seeing here, it's a fair. Now this fair isn't even going to come out. You're too close to the ground at this position. You would have, see, you've already landed right there before he grabs you. So the fair's already going to fail because of your positioning. But the idea of fair is okay. If you want to do something like this, Nair is a better choice this close to the ground. Because Nair actually would have hit here. But that's beside the point. Fair is an okay option, just not with this positioning. Okay, so what made you lose the stock here? This fair isn't positioned well, right? So fair's hard to cross up with. You kind of have to just sort of land on top of the opponent, right? Or in front of him. So let's say this was positioned a little bit better. It would have hit, right? Because he wasn't shielding. But if he were shielding, he still could have grabbed. But what could you have done to make this like totally safe? If you had made the input about here for a fair, so Yoshi will start the fair attack a little bit earlier than you do, You then could have held backwards to drift backwards, and you would have landed about here when the fair would come out, right? And then even if he shields it, you're now in a distance out of his grab range, right? The only reason he's able to grab you here is because you land here, as opposed to throwing out fair and landing here. Because fair is a big move, right? You don't have to be this close to land fair. Fair would probably hit from this position, especially if he tries to throw out a grab, because that'll extend his hitbox. So this is why you lose the first stock, right? You don't use any sort of drift to keep your spacing correct, and instead you just land right next to him. So he's able to grab. And K. Rool just has a kill grab because he can bury. Great job there. And there you go. That was great. You didn't fall for it. Okay, so this is a great opportunity because you clearly knew it was coming, right? So you get the read. You know it's coming. If right here, instead of just backing off, you had decided to just charge an F smash, when he throws it out there, you could have continued holding your F smash until he goes into that animation and hit him and absolutely would have taken the stock at 96, right? Because he's right at the ledge. You know he's going to do it, and you called him out for it. You just didn't get the hardest punish you could have in a very unsafe move. So you do a good job of getting the read. So I'm not ragging you too hard, right? You do a good job here. But I am pointing out an opportunity where if you have a read like that, you can actually do a harder commit, a harder punish, especially when you're at this low percent, where if he happened to have done something else for the first time, right? Like landing Nair or something, you wouldn't have died for it. You just would have taken a little bit of percent. So this is a perfect situation where a hard read is a great option because you could potentially take the stock right here at 96. And if it failed, because he might have guessed that you would do that, you would have taken very little damage. But I digress. You do a good job here, so I'm not ragging you too hard. So you'd never done that before, so totally fine. I'm going to point this out here a little bit. So you get hit, and you decide to roll forward, right? I'm not sure if this is a habit, because you do roll backwards earlier. Had you rolled backwards here to just make some distance after you lost that neutral interaction, you wouldn't have gotten hit by this, right? And then you just would have been back to neutral. Instead, you roll forward, so you get hit, and you run forward, and you unsafely land on top of him, right? So your positioning here lands you right in front of K. Rool. So your down air can cross up, and it crosses up really well. So if instead of fast falling this to the ground like you do here, you had instead just kind of moved to the left and held it on his shield, you could have landed behind him. And since he has Crown thrown out, you're going to get hit both by Crown and by K. Rool here, right? Actually, I guess he went the down smash, which wasn't going to work, but the Crown still hit you. But you do a good job of kind of making up for it because you're at low percent. You just kind of... Okay, so right there again. Okay? So you've lost the interaction. Okay, you've lost neutral. But instead of backing off and kind of either going to ledge or going to the corner, at least, right? Or even just kind of double jumping up and quickly landing, you decide to just hold back in because you want to try attack him right away, right? And because of that, the Crown hits you, he hits you, and now you've lost another interaction. And right there, again, I'm just going to point out you missed attack, but we're going to work on that, so no worries. This is a good egg lay. This is a great use of egg lay here, right? You do a good job of catching him here. But then, you don't do anything to follow up, right? That's a weird thing with K. Rool. By the way, his recovery can hit like right here above ledge, which it hit you there. So if you were wondering what hit you, it was his recovery. It's a strange hitbox. Don't overthink it. Just be aware that K. Rool can do that. So the bigger mistake here is after you get this, all characters at basically any percentage, if your opponent mashes enough, they can escape egg. Now, tons of players aren't good enough to do that. Okay? Even at the level I play at, tons and tons and tons and tons and tons and tons and tons of players do not mash hard enough to escape egg. But it can be done. I've had players escape egg almost immediately at like 140, 150%. And it's crazy. But all of them can escape egg. So if you as Yoshi get an Eggalay on stage like this, you can casually jump off, right? And follow the egg down, and then you can kind of decide what to do. I typically like to go for another Eggalay, but like down here. If you get an Eggalay down here at a high percent, your opponent will absolutely lose the stock, right? Really funny to do it. It's my favorite thing. But you have other options too. You could double jump and use a Nair to hit them kind of this way, and you can go for a stage spike. Or you can go for a fair and go for a normal spike. Or you can kind of do a back air, right? And hope to kill him off the side. And you can mix it up from those options too. So definitely after you get an Eggalay on stage, start trying to punish by going off stage a little bit more. All right? All right, so right there, another example. You lose this interaction, so now you're in disadvantage state, okay? And you just hold in. And I'm just gonna point out again, you do misspace the fair here. You do a little bit earlier, but because you misspaced it, you used it too late, you just land without any hitbox coming out. Whereas Nair would have hit. So he's able to punish and throw you off stage. This is a perfect example of, again, when egg would help out. So he's committed. You could have double jumped here, thrown an egg and hit him, and still made it back to stage really easy. But you don't, so you just make it back to stage. Actually, you do throw an egg, but super late, which actually puts you in a bit of an unsafe position. If he had thrown out a hitbox here, or down smash, you could have eaten a stock. I digress. Alright, so right there. So this isn't a huge deal, in my opinion. This stock right here, you react a little bit late, right? So you're trying to read a get up option. Okay, he's at ledge, and you're trying to figure out what you want to do. Every single time so far, he's done neutral get up. So you move to punish neutral get up, and you're even going for the spike to hit him right here when he does the neutral get up. But you're holding in, right? And because you're holding in, and he's chosen a different option, you're just eating an F smash at ledge. This isn't. You had the right read, but because he picked a different option and you were slow to react, he takes the stock. I wouldn't be too upset about this. You went for a hard read, right? And it didn't work out. But there is a safer option you can take here in this situation. When your opponent's hanging at ledge, Yoshi has a few different options. For one, you can try to read the get up from the ground, right? Which is often safer. So you could have, and you'll do this later on in the match. So I'm not sure if you learn or you just did it by, instinct or habit or whatever. You could just run up here and F smashed, right? Because he's done neutral get up this whole time. So you could have just ran forward and punched him. Or Yoshi can attack the ledge if they decide to hang on it with down tilt is the safest option. It will always hit the ledge, but it very rarely kills, obviously. It's not a very strong hitbox. And this one's harder, but has a big payoff. Down smash. It's hard to get this spacing right, because only part of Yoshi's tail has a hitbox that'll hit below ledge, but it does kill very early and sends at a super weird angle that most characters can't recover from. So it could have taken a stock had he decided to keep hanging here. It would have also read neutral get up, so it would have covered both those options, which would have been nice. You could have also ran like dark here. Instead of trying to hit ledge, if you'd ran to here and done a down smash, it would have covered both in front of you and also the option he takes of roll in. So that potentially would have hit him. Wouldn't have killed him if he rolls in, okay? Because it would have sent this way instead of this way. But you still would have hit him, and then you wouldn't have lost the stock here. Yeah. So you're just a little bit slow here. You could have seen that he had done the roll option, right? And not try to punish get up attack, which is why you need F smash. But I wouldn't be too upset about it. Good read. That's a very, very common player habit. You land next to them between stocks, and then they roll, and you do a great job punishing it. An excellent job right there. Run forward, up smash, take it to stock super early. Nice job. He went for the neutral get this time, and you punished him for it. Okay, so he comes in. Great job there. Punish. And you even try to shield to avoid an attack. Great job. So, I'm going to point out right here. So you're in an unsafe position, but because you decide... Hold on, let me replay that. So because you decide to kind of go up, right, up here, instead of immediately kind of hard committing to landing in front of him, you give yourself more options, right? And you aren't super punished. And you space that well, so you hit him. Okay, right there. Here's the habit again. So you lose the interaction. Straight up. He's now... You're in disadvantage now. He's on stage, and you got hit. And you're going to hold it and try to hit him again. And he just punishes you for it. And you do it again there, okay? And this works out this time. So it's not that it never, ever, ever works. But if he were paying more attention and had noticed that you've been doing this the entire match, he could have punished you really hard there. He misses attack. You punish. And you up smash. Great job. Alright. Excellent job there. So this time, you run in, you noticed that you lost neutral, right? And so you take the defensive option and just hold shield. Great job. Excellent work there. Obviously, there is an option you could take of grab here, but you had never done this entire set, so he didn't know what to do. He just tried to punish you doing what you normally do of overcommitting. So great job here. I will point out just a very minor thing. If you ever have another situation like this, and it comes up pretty often, where you read something laggy like this right next to him, Yoshi has a pretty great grab game, where you can like down throw into various tilt combos. So like down throw, run under them, and then up air and punish their landing option. Would have built up more damage, but you do punish them a little bit with down tilt. So he goes off stage, you make no effort to chase, you read that. Alright, super minor thing. But I'm just going to point out, if your opponent misses techs, you didn't wait for tech. You're already throwing out the dash attack right here, right? Yoshi has a thing where when your opponent misses a tech, they can do what's called a... oh god, what's the word for it? A jab lock. A jab lock. So, if you had been a little bit more patient to see if your opponent would either roll away, tech and roll away, or just tech in place, or miss the tech, you could have ran up and then just jab locked. The way that works for Yoshi, and most characters, is when your opponent misses a tech on the ground, you just press the A button once. Okay? Yoshi will use his jab 1 to punch him, and now the opponent is stuck. And against most characters in the cast, Yoshi can then either down smash or F smash to build up a ton of damage or even take the stock if they're high enough. Definitely wouldn't have killed King K. Rool here because he's a big old heavyweight and he's only at 40. But you could have built up more damage. Super minor thing though. I just wanted to let you know the jab lock exists in case you weren't aware. So like right there, actually this works out. So I think the King K. Rool is panicking a little bit, right? So you knock him off stage, and you do a great job right here. Oh, I'm glad I went back. I wanted to point this out when I took my notes. You do a great job here of when he decides to recover high, you punish him for it. Please keep doing that. That was awesome. Really glad. And this is why I tell all of you to go to ledge, because recovering high is not safe, right? You can do it sometimes, but it is not the safe option. Anyway. So you go up here, Now your opponent is recovering, and the entire match so far, he's shown you he's going to ledge. And this is really, really awkward. Because I wanted to use this opportunity to show you that you could have ran off here and tried to spike him with a fair aimed at his legs is how you spike King K. Rool. But understandable, he's hard to do that against. Against most of the casts, though, you could absolutely run off here and nair or something. And then awkwardly, he doesn't go to ledge for the first time, literally all set, right? You correctly try to punish this, but unfortunately you aim at the wrong direction. But you do a great job of noticing you've lost the interaction, so you shield. And you don't immediately take like another 40% from an F smash. Great job, Lucas. And you're nice and patient. Okay, so right there. Nice and patient. He throws crown, and you unsafely land right between these two. Now, this is an awkward situation, right? This is a very common situation to find yourself in as Yoshi. Typically, my favorite option is to egg in this situation. When he throws crown in this matchup, I like to go in and egg. But you have other options, namely landing behind him, right? Kind of drifting further this way, especially because he hard committed with his gun, so you could have hit. A lot of them won't hard commit with gun, instead they'll shield, okay? But anyway, because you land between the two of them, you do eat quite a bit of percent here. Nice job there, you successfully trade. And once again, you do a good job there of noticing you lost the interaction and taking the defensive option to reset to neutral. So it's something you learn throughout the set, throughout this game. And as soon as you start doing it, you start performing better, right? So that's a big reason why you lost quite a bit of percent in those early stocks. But you did learn, so great work. Okay, just a little bit slow. Okay, so this is a dash cross-up, right? Lots and lots of characters in the cast will dash cross-up. So if your opponent's dash attacking you, it's often safer to go with something with like a down smash. But again, it's hard to tell with dashes whether they're going to cross you up or not. So understandable that you would miss this and try to punch with an up smash for the kill. So totally understandable. It is based on when they start their dash. So he started like really close to you, right? Yeah, he starts really close to you and he ends up on the other side. But this is the correct call, right? Trying to punish it is correct. You just got crossed up. Okay, super dangerous there. So your opponent's back in neutral. And you're going for a back air. Okay. It's just a little bit poorly placed. So something you often do is you're just holding toward the opponent when you're using your aerials. Whereas Yoshi can instead just kind of short hop and then start the aerial and then hold back the other direction. And you can kind of place it at their front while still landing away from where it can hit you. In this case, King K. Rool has an attack that hits directly above him, and it's going to hit you really hard here, but doesn't kill you. All right, so right there, once again, you have lost neutral, okay? But instead of just going to ledge, you try to punish. You try to go from disadvantage to advantage, and he hits you for it. And very nearly kills you. Had you been positioned just a little bit more this way, that crown would have hit you, you would have been hit the hard hitbox and would have died. So he knows that you will never throw an egg off stage, which is why he goes off stage to hit you here, right? Now he misses, so you're not overly punished, but had you been tossing eggs kind of in that situation earlier in the set, then he wouldn't have been able to go off stage to try to get you. Hey, sorry, Lucas, had a recording issue. Let's pick it back up from right here. The match is about over. Okay, hits you there. So right there, I'm going to point it out. You're not punished, but you definitely should have been, where you're in disadvantage, right? And you absolutely whiff it, because you're trying to go from disadvantage state to into advantage state. You're trying to end the stock instead of just casually going to ledge. He almost kills you for it. This dash attack absolutely kills you. But you do get a chance to shield it, and you hit him. Now you tried to punish there. Was very close to doing so as well. Had you waited just a bit, I think this hits. Yep. So had you waited for, if you had been a little bit more patient and waited for the air dodge, would have absolutely taken that stock right there. Okay, knocks in the air. And then you're just a little bit too aggressive. You don't respect the landing option. You know, you don't shield this, and he gets you. So that's how you lose the last one. But it was super close. It was a last hit, last stock situation. I wouldn't be too upset about that one. Most of your problems were just in that first half of this, so I'd definitely review those. And I'd go review some of your other matches, both from this week and last week, and see if you can spot the same issues. We're going to take a quick look at your, when you refight this player. Here. You refight him for 1 stock. So let's just take a quick look and see if you have the same issues. Alright. So right there, you'll land unsafely in front of him, right? And so because you didn't drift backwards with that, he's able to punish. He gets a very weak punish, right? But it was dangerous. You miss attack there, right? So we're going to keep working on that. And right there, that's a big one. So the first one, not a huge deal. It's like the first part of the set of the match, so not like huge. But this is actually a pretty big miss. So, okay, you roll backwards. So this is already missed, right? For sure. Like this isn't hitting anything. But you're still hard committing. You're just holding in, hoping it's gonna hit. And he's able to punish with an F smash. Great job there using your tilts to build damage. So, right, once again, you just have the issue of you're just approaching with Crown coming at you from one direction, him coming from the other, and you're just going right in between them. Super dangerous. And they both hit you, and they build, oh boy, you go from 46 to 75. So they do like 30 damage. Great job recovering there. You don't throw an egg, but again, we're going to work on that. But you go to ledge, great job. Great punish there. Oh, that was so close. If that were an F smash instead, you would have hit. But you had the right idea. Absolutely fantastic punish. It's so sad that missed, but great job. Wouldn't have killed him. He's King K. Rool, but good job. All right, right there. There's that habit again. So missed, and you double down, right? You missed the interaction. So you've lost neutral. Well, you haven't lost neutral, but you're now in disadvantage state, right? You're above King K. Rool. You just missed your attack option, and he hits you for it. And that's just how you lost tiebreaker. So it really is just, after you know that your attempt of attacking has failed, try to get a little bit better about making sure you're landing away from the opponent, or even double jumping away. If in this situation, right there, if right here you had double jumped and just moved away, even way down here, even if this hits you, you don't die because double jump armor will kick in. And you probably would have just jumped a little bit earlier, like up here, right? And then you would have just been back to neutral. So don't be afraid to use your double jump a little bit to just reset to neutral. But the big problem here is just you decide to land right next to him. And he takes the stock really early. Overall, though, Lucas, you do a great job here. King K. Rool is actually a really hard matchup. Not strictly for Yoshi, just kind of in general, right? Not because he's a good character, because he's really not. He's just kind of hard to play around. He's, super heavyweight, and super heavyweights in general are just kind of difficult. So I think you do a great job in this set. So we're going to leave it at that. And yeah, I hope you found this helpful, man. Have a great night.